It's never a good sign when Hermes have taped the box up. Oh dear. Well, wish me luck. Here goes. Well, we've got a bit of crush space, but we've got stuff in the bottom, so let's see what's happening. We've got, I think, the car's on top, so I can't do this one-handed. One moment. So we have a collection of Oxford Diecast. I think they worked out about £3.33 each if you divide the price by the cost. So, you know, generally if you go to a toy fair they're £4. In fact, actually, having just been to the toy fair this weekend, the little boxed ones are £5 now, which I'm not prepared to pay. I mean, Oxford are Oxford, but they're not the best detailed cars in the world for the money. The new, I think they're about £8-9 now for out the shops, which is a bit of a wee take, I think, considering they're made in China for pennies. So we have a Volkswagen Beetle, which obviously we know we're going to keep that one because we've got the real thing in my garage. Forward control Land Rover, something I always fancied having but never could quite afford. Probably get rid of that one because obviously my war period, it's way too modern and it's too old for my most period, because obviously the army didn't really have these after the, I think, 70s, early 80s. I don't know, you might see the odd one in, you know, yeah, might be a maybe. This is possibly a code 3 inter and eastern counties. I presume that's the London Transport emblem, isn't it? Days gone by. Or TFL as they are now. You can substitute the word transport for any other word. A Marina police car. Again, L Reg soon. What would that have been? 1973. Bit old for my period. We were thrashing about in old Marinas, but certainly the old Bill wasn't. An E-Type Jaguar, Mr. Ferrari's favourite looking car. Can't say as I agree with him. Mark 1 Golf GTI. Give me one of those over an E-Type. Although if you're giving an E-Type away, I'll have that because I could sell it and buy a nice Mark 1 GTI with a 2 litre twin cam GT. Supercharged engine, isn't it? An Escroat, a Ford Escroat. Plenty of them about in my day. We're still kicking around, and a few Mark 1s. An old Bedford Co-op milk truck. Well, they were all electric round my way. The Bedford was only when I was a nipper. Stanley the baker had a Bedford van. An Austin Princess, yes. Even as a kid, when you saw that car, you knew British Leyland didn't have long. An Astra. We used to rent a few of those. A few of the Wide Boys sales reps used to thrash about in those, thinking they were a Formula 1 race driver. An old black cab. I suppose that's a TE4, is it? The old one with the transit engine in it. The decent transit engine, not the crap T4. Jensen, is that? Or a skimmer, I can never remember which one's which. Either way, you usually saw them at the side of the road, broken down. A Ford Fiasco, because owning one usually was. We used to rent them out as well. The back windows used to leak because they copied the Polo and made the same design flaw. An MGB GT, well, the V8 one was alright, but these had usually got severe case of tin worm. There weren't many of them left, apart from the American spec. BMC again, that's going to be a bit early for my period, British Rail. That'll probably go in the trade-off pile somewhere. Another Astra. A Ford Transit. We've lost his headlights. Oh, that's an MOT failure. bang the old door handle just below there, and you used to be able to pop the door open and nick all the tills out the back, as we discovered with our vans. Yeah, used to rent those, 80s, 90s, Mark 1s, 2s and 3s. BMW Isetta, yeah, need we say any more? Drive it into your garage and you can't get out because no one put a reverse gear in it. A Ford Crappie, I presume that's the Del Boy one, because we've got the Space Shuttle. Yeah, Ford Capri, or Crappie as we used to call them. The Space Shuttle, because after a few pints on a Friday night, if you'd go around the housing estates and wait for someone that owned them and do that to it, and wait for them to find that their vehicle was like a space shuttle in the morning. This is a bit of an unusual one, because I've got the Royal Mail Sherpas and they're all the Welsh logoed ones. This is actually Royal Mail. It's only got this emblem on one side, but it says Reading. I've never seen that one before, because I've got my one and sort of like removed the Welsh writing on it, because you get the transit one, which we never had round this way. Royal Mail didn't usually splash out the extra money for a Ford, only escort vans, which no one seems to make, most to my annoyance, having got one. But yeah, a shipper, a Mark 1 transit, a little bit of home weathering there, but I'm sure we can put a few rusty panels, and the puddle of water that used to form on the dashboard. So let's move on to the houses, because I'm more concerned about how they arrived. Well, it took a while to go through them all and put them all back together in the right order. Luckily they're architects' models, so obviously the house plan is given a name, so each moulded section has the name, so you can marry them up fairly easy, other than these ones which have had cardboard. So you can see the ones he'd started, a little bit of stucco effect paint and some brick card, and you start to get quite an effective model. Obviously this one needs a bit of reviving, and there's one just had, there's a 3-story obviously, just with a bit of grey primer on the roof, which even that sort of improves things. And this one's looking at the largest. There's a few of these, they've actually moulded the roof solid and not hollowed out, and they're quite a weight. Again, so just brick paper stuck around and cut out, and obviously a dabbled paint effect. Again, it's sort of obviously being in his damp layout, it's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of paper and card, because it doesn't weather the storm very well over a long period of time with the moisture changes and that. But you know, it's easily fixed. I knew that when I bought them, because most of them never had anything done. As you can see, they're not hugely out of scale, they're slightly larger I guess, but not massively. So what we end up with is an entire housing project of various, there's none that are the same, there's sort of like these two which are a minute variation internally, but so this one, the roof is a complete solid, some kind of 3D printing, because you can see the layering, but I'm not familiar with the material. It's more like a styrene, but it's very hard, brittle. But yeah, it does weigh quite a bit, but I'll put it on my keyboard without it doing something I don't want it to do. So you can see pretty much everything is detailed other than the garage door there, but we've got the entire floor plan, including the beds and even the quilt folded back that you can paint in and detail, the toilet, ensuite there and such like. And down to the staircase, reminds me of the old Hornby Georgian, not Georgian, the Victorian ones, they all were detailed inside with the room layout. So you can see obviously there is the garage space and whatever rooms would be used for, kitchen, nice big storage area there, cupboard. and your dining room, reception, kitchen. So obviously again easy to glaze because you can access them all, paint the walls down. I'll probably just bulk spray them to because I dare say if you put illumination in these they will glow like a nuclear winter. So they'll probably need a matte black spray completely over everything just to block out any light bleed. But yeah, they're sort of fairly unscathed. There's sort of like some internal wall framings that have cracked or broken, like that sort of thing there. That's about it, and the odd locating pin has not survived, but other than that they're unscathed, thankfully. But yeah, as you can see, we've got various sizes. I haven't got a decent scale figure to hand. This is a Chinese guy that looks like he's undergone some kind of experiment, but we put him parallel with the door frames. You know, it's getawayable. Some of the Chinese figures are a bit under scale in HO, but obviously, you know, you select your figures appropriately. And obviously if we scale it with a vehicle, obviously a van would generally be too big for a modern garage, but you can see they're not hugely out of proportion. I've just packed all the cars away, so I haven't got one to hand, but that's about the only figure I've got to hand. All the others are packed away. But yeah, I think there's a couple of sort of like plain door details, so it'd be a case of maybe making some pre-made ones fit the doorway that have got more detail, or a bit of scratch card. See, there's no back door at all on this one, no side door or front door only. Seems odd. Won't matter, I guess, because you won't see. You have the old French doors there, so going out to the garden. So I don't know whether these will all fit in with the plan or some of them. Obviously it fills a big void in trying to build a village or a town area, suburban area. Obviously these sort of fit in with the idea I've got some of the houses under construction and some ideas to do some old buildings that are being modernised by builders to have a building site scene. So yeah, possibly a housing development, and obviously you can, depending on how you do these to sort of fit the area, they're not, houses haven't changed drastically in architectural design in the last 30 years. More of the improvements has gone on obviously internally with regulations in building it rather than the actual shell that you see from the roadside. So yeah, bit of plastic card to make us probably do card for the roofing, I think, like those ones, if I can find some supplies, because obviously there's going to be quite a few to do. And I think that's the other one that's solid, and you wouldn't want that landing on your head. But again, you see, fully detailed inside, toilet. Again, you can see the little minor damage there where the roof section or a building part is pushed in, but that's about it, nothing major. Obviously, if your building inspector comes around, they'll be having the developers out to rectify the problem, but there was one, I think, I don't know whether Mark done it, it's got magnets on it. Might be that one. No. But yeah, you get the idea. So we've got 15 of those. So that's a village in a box.